Today on RICO'S Garage, can a soccer mom caravan engine get a JK back on the road? That's what we're going to find out. Alright, so not long after the engine expired in the wife's JK, talking with some other friends, we already knew we was going to diesel swap it. That's what the wife wants, that's what we're going to do. But the question keeps coming up, can you take a 3.8 out of a minivan and use it in your JK? Some of you are thinking, why would you even bother worrying about that? Well, the answer is simple. It comes down to cost. You see, just before I made this video, I done some checking on the internets, and a used JK engine with anywhere from 160 to 220,000 miles would run anywhere from $1,600 to $3,000. That's a lot of money. And when you search the internet tells you it's Jeep only. There's no way it will not work. The other side of the coin, if you look up for the same year caravan, you can find them with varying mileages from $300 to $700. And if you want to do a little bit more work and save even a little bit more money, a few of the local pick and pulls have them for as low as $150 with you pulling it out. That is a tremendous savings. So what you're telling me, Rico, is for $150 I could possibly have an engine for my JK. As far as the question that came up, can you take an engine out of a caravan and put into a JK? The short answer is no. You cannot take an engine directly out of a caravan and put it straight into your JK. It won't work. That's the short answer. Now, if you were to ask me, can you make an engine from a caravan work in a JK? Yes, you can. And that's what I'm going to cover. So if you're willing to do a little bit of labor, you could save yourself a tremendous amount of money. And that's what we're going to get into today. So I'm going to go ahead and say it right straight out front. Watch the entire video. Don't just stop right here where, oh, Rico said you can make it work. I got this. No. You're going to want to watch the entire video. I'm going to show you what you need to do. And then at the end of the video, we're going to ask, was it worth it? And we're also going to address, why is the Jeep engine $3,000? Why is the caravan engine $150? Let's get over this engine. Let's get into it. Okay, here I have beside me our dismantled 3.8 out of our Jeep JK. You remember from previous videos, I dismantled it to show you what happened and why this engine is no longer usable. Yes, it's torn down, but it will still work to show you what I need to show you. Now, it would be nice in doing this video if I had a 3.8 out of a minivan, but I couldn't find somebody willing to let me take their minivan apart to show you this, and I wasn't willing to go buy a minivan engine just to do this video. This channel doesn't make enough money to cover that, so I'm sorry. So even though I don't have the minivan 3.8 here in front of me to show you, I can still show you what we need to do. First things first, what are we going to need? Well, obviously you're going to need the 3.8 out of your JK, and you're going to need a 3.8 out of a minivan. In doing research for this video, I was able to find a 2008 Caravan with a 3.8 and look at a few key things that I needed to look at without tearing the van apart. So, just to be on the safe side, with my limited research, I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to find a 2008 to 2010 Caravan engine, because I'm pretty confident saying anything after 2008 should work. Now, before that, you're on your own. You're going to have to do your own research. I wasn't willing to crawl underneath every minivan at the pick and pull. I just didn't have the time to do it. But you're talking about potentially saving yourself a couple $1,000s. It's worth the time to do it. I'm going to show you what to look for, show you what you need to change around. You do your own research, you go from there. Your mileage may vary, blah, blah, blah. This engine was in a four-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive vehicle, depending on your application. Yes, they made two-wheel drive JKs. I don't know why you might want one, but yes, they made them. The engine was obviously mounted longitudinally. This was the front, this was the rear, this faced the radiator, this faced the firewall. When the same engine is in a minivan, it's mounted transverse, side to side. So this, where I am sitting, would essentially be the front of the vehicle. The radiator would be here, the starter's on this side, the oil filter. This side of the engine would be at the firewall. Water pump would be on the passenger side, transmixer would be on the driver's side. The exhaust manifolds, the intake manifold, the valve covers, all the external accessories are going to have to be swapped over. The upper intake is different on the JK, the lower, potentially the same, but I would change them out as a unit just to be on the safe side. You're going to want to change the intake gasket anyway, because on these 3/8 that's a problem area. The oil pan is different because, again, we're talking the sump has to be in different places for different clearances. So you're going to need to put your JK oil pan over onto the minivan. All of your bolt bosses are all here, no matter how it was mounted. Transverse or longitudinally, it doesn't matter. All the bolt bosses are here. So your JK mounts will bolt to the minivan engine. You're just, if you're up here in the Rust Belt, salt country like we are, you're going to want to run a tap through all your holes. The major difference that freaks people out and sends them into thinking it won't work is the oil filter. On our JK, the oil filter is up here on the front. The minivan, the oil filter is on the side of the block. I'll bring you in closer here to explain this in just a minute. A lot of people see that and they think game over. It's not going to work. I cannot put a minivan engine with an oil filter hanging off the side here where my motor mount needs to go. It's not going to work, and they give up right there. But there is a way to make it work. That is what leads a lot of people to believe this won't work. But it's really a pretty simple fix. Let me bring you in here and show you. Okay, right now we are looking at what would be the front of the engine if it was in the minivan, or the driver's side of the JK engine when it's in the vehicle. You see this pad right here with this pipe plug? Well, when it's in the minivan, there is an oil filter housing bolted right here. This pipe plug is not in place. This is a drain hole. You can see this drain hole goes right through this casting into the front cover. So when it's in the minivan, like I said, there's an adapter housing that hangs off here, and your oil filter would be right here. How are we going to get around that? Go around to the front of the engine. That oil filter mount is cast into this front cover, and this front cover also contains the oil pump. So you can see the way everything is cast. Oil pump plumbed right into the oil filter. On the minivan, same deal, oil pump's here, and it follows this tube into the oil filter housing. Well, if we were to pull this cover off of the JK engine, you will notice, get around here to the side, this is just simply blocked off. It goes into nowhere. There's your two passages you can see on the block. Like I said, the minivan has the housing right here, plumbs in, and the minivan cover has holes machined to feed the oil pump. Well, on the JK cover, that's simply blocked off. So, if you take this plug out of your JK engine, remove that oil filter housing off your minivan engine, plug that hole, switch this cover over onto the minivan, do yourself a favor, put a new seal in it, rebuild the oil pump while you're at it. Your minivan engine now has a provision on the front for an oil filter, and you don't worry about that hole that's open because that's the way Jeep left it. You just clean out that passage, block off the pressure side, you're done. So by simply switching over some parts, you can potentially turn your $150 minivan engine into what would be a $3,000 engine from the salvage yard. So yes, it's a pile of work, but it's really not, because if you find an engine from a salvage yard, be it a Jeep engine or a minivan engine, it's going to have a pile of miles on it. The lowest Jeep engine I could find had 100,000 miles on it and was in a wreck, so it had busted parts anyway that were going to need to be swapped. Even if you find a pristine low mileage engine, low mileage being 100,000, you're going to want to do the intake. You're going to want to change the oil pan gasket. You're going to want to change that front cover seal because they all leak. So it's really not any more labor than you're going to have to begin with. So yes, you can put a Chrysler minivan engine into your JK if you're willing to do some work. Now, my recommendation, allot yourself some time. If you don't work on these every day, you may even just want to clear the whole weekend, knowing that you're probably going to have a full day in swapping everything over. Because while I hit on the key areas, on the stuff that's going to need to be swapped, you're going to want to double check all your sensors. If you get one cheap enough and you're going to plan on keeping the rig for a while, freshen it up. First of all, obviously, I would buy a full gasket set right out of the box, because you can get on like Rock Auto and buy a full gasket set cheaper than if you just run to your local store and just get the few gaskets that you need. So I'm going to end this video with two questions I know is going to be asked. Number one, is it worth it? Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you can do the work yourself, absolutely it's worth it. Go to the pick and pull. Go to the pick and pull, get yourself a relatively inexpensive engine. Take it to the coin-op car wash, spray it off, clean it up, switch everything over like we talked, put it in your JK and get it going. If you have to pay somebody to do it, you're getting kind of iffy there, because you spend $2,500 for the sake of simple math on an engine. When you take it to your mechanic and you say, put this engine in my JK, he's going to give you a price X, knowing that there may be a few things he needs to swap over, but for the most part, it's just going to be a direct in and out swap. If you take him an engine and say, okay, you need to take it down, essentially you're taking it down to the long block and swapping everything over. Time is money, and shop rates are anywhere from 100 to 150, maybe even higher in your area. If you have to pay your mechanic $150 an hour for 10, 15 hours labor, you're getting right back there to the same price as if you'd have just bought the JK engine to begin with. You're really going to have to be careful there, because you're hinging on, might not be worth it. Which brings to the next question. Why are the yards charging so much for JK engines? Well, it's simple economics, supply and demand. There's a demand for these 3.8 engines because they had a lot of problems, and there's just not much supply. You're like, well, you just showed me how I could take a minivan engine and make it work in my JK. Yes, you can, if you do all that work. A salvage yard cannot, in good faith, put on their website and say, here you go, it'll fit, because it won't, without doing all the work. How the used parts market works is 100% based on interchange. They are talking, pluck this out, put it over in this car. That's an interchange. No steps in between. So they cannot sell you an engine out of a minivan in good faith and tell you, here you go, it'll work in your JK. Because as I said, You cannot simply pull it out of the minivan and throw it in your JK. By the same token, they can't sell it to a shop and be like, yeah, I got one, but you're going to have to do a pile of work to make it work. No, it's not profitable. So they're not screwing anybody. They're not out to get you. It's not like, oh, they're selling minivan engines for $3,000 and saying it's a JK engine. No, they're not, because they're different. Now this video is probably going to generate some hate and be like, who would do this in the first place? Obviously, quite a few people. Because, well, yes, I am diesel swapping my JK. It's expensive. It's going to take a while. And I have my wife in another vehicle driving it in the meantime. Some people don't have that option. If you bought what you thought was a fairly clean JK and you paid a pretty good amount of money for it and you have a loan against it and now the engine's blown up, you can't go buy another vehicle because all your money's right there. And there's no shame in that. It happens. It's just unfortunately the way the world works. So if you are upside down in your JK, or right there to the point where there's no more budget to go finance another vehicle, this may be something to look at. Not everybody is going to want to diesel swap or V8 swap their JK. There's some people, quite a few of them actually, that would be just happy with that 3.8 in there. If they could take a $150 minivan engine and with the help of some friends or whatnot, get their JK back up and running and have a vehicle, then hell yeah, makes perfect sense. Or maybe you want to get into a JK, but you don't want to pay the ridiculous amount of money they're going for right now because they are going high. Wow. The car market is so screwed up right now, it makes no sense. There is a pile of JKs out there right now. You would think the prices would be going down, but no. They're still way up there. But let's say you find one on Marketplace with a bad engine, not right, and you're like, hey, you know, I'm mechanical. I have a shop, or my buddy has a shop. Let's go buy that minivan engine, swap it over. I'm driving a freaking JK. And I don't have much money in it. So I hope this video helps you out, answers some questions I know some of you've had. Talking with other fellow gearheads and enthusiasts, this question seems to come up, and I thought it would be worthwhile to do the research and put this video out. Maybe it can help somebody out. In fact, if it helps one person get their blown up JK going, then it's worth it. So I'm going to leave you with that. Be sure to like this video if you found it interesting. Comment down below if you have any questions or any experience in doing this, anything you think may be helpful. Share this video if you know somebody that it'll help out, because that's the whole reason I made it. And subscribe if you want to see more videos. We got more information on the engine swap coming soon. Wintertime's coming, going to be doing some upgrades to our other projects. So I better quit yapping and get to work. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you later.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built